I can go like 1080p, but on my own I can't.
We're live, Dollar Cost Crypto. All right. Hello. Welcome everyone back to the Happy Hour show. As the special guest panelists and guests are rolling in, welcome back, Randy Hilarski. I'm just, after talking to you in the green room, man, I'm just happy that, to see your face, man. You all right? You doing okay?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Okay.
Well, I've got your oh, here it is. You're playing on Twitter. Jeez. Yeah. I hear your voice doubling, and I'm like, what's going on? Yeah, guys, I'm feeling great. I'm drinking lots of Pedialyte, and
not because you're hungover, right?
No. Mother's Day, I got some bad ceviche, I think, and
oh boy.
Yeah, something was in it. I'm taking antiparasitics. I'm taking, all kinds of antibiotics to get my stomach cleared up because I'm leaving on Tuesday to go to Europe, and I don't want to be traveling like this. But hey, great, man, dude! It's the best weight loss plan you'll ever have. I think I'll start a YouTube channel about it. Yeah, it's been rough. I haven't left the house since last Sunday. I went out today to get a coffee, and I was out for 30 minutes and ran right back home. So,
wow. All right. So yeah, not the crypto gym rat physical challenge that you signed up for.
No way, man.
Before and after could be amazing, but yeah. Just like
Randy comes in with the photo finish, you guys.
Lost 50 pounds in a week.
With the help of I got some amoebas helping me or something else. I don't know, but man. Dude.
Oh man, no, that's not good. Dollar Cost, man. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, for sure.
I know you have a busy schedule, and I know it's a super news heavy week, and I'm sure that contributes to your busy schedule. But how you been, man?
Been really good, man. I mean, I managed to catch some sleep after the courses in between the shitstorm. and I'm obviously I'm not on a beach right now, but it's I'm handling it pretty well right now and like helping a lot of people out right now. A lot of my guys weren't really affected by the Luna news or any of that stuff right now, but regardless or not, it does take the market. I mean, even had a small dip in the hex price, nothing crazy, but even just I'm guessing some people were probably trading, even though they're not supposed to be trading, but they were trading and covering margin calls and shit or something like that, Of
course.
Yeah, just a lot of that, I think, going on, and people just, it happens. People get caught leaning the wrong way, and It doesn't really matter the asset, and then, all heck breaks loose, and then people get liquidated, and it cascades, and then people get taken out, and it just feeds on itself a little bit. But yeah, we can get into all of that. We'll have Motley Investor and Wendy's, I believe, in here shortly, as well as Big K in about a half hour or so. I believe he'll stop by and say hello. But in the meantime, I figured last week was a heavy show just in terms of, it was just nonstop answering questions, topics. I feel like this week's going to be that way, but last week I just had a couple topics I wanted to touch on. Randy, I guess this one's kind of for you, but the nation of Panama, I guess, officially passed a bill to give legal status to Bitcoin and also eliminate all capital gains. How do you feel about this being your nation of residence?
Wonderful, specifically because I'm poor as dirt, and my wife is rich and she's Panamanian, so this really helps us a lot. And it's not signed yet. I know they said it passed. It's passed in the House, but the president still needs to sign it off. That means one guy left, and this president is pretty much do as he told type of guy, so he'll probably do it. It passed unanimously, so I have no reason why it won't. Panama was scared. I think they got their nerves wrecked a little bit when El Salvador started getting all this attention, because Panama is supposed to be the haven. We're the financial haven of this part of the world, and when you start messing with their big money earner, they get nervous. So Panama said, oh boy, we better do something about this quick. I mean, Randy Hilarski and Ira Miller and Eric Voorhees have been telling us going back to 2012 that we need to get this done. We need to pass these laws, and a bunch of other Panamanians you guys won't know, but you know me. Ira was the founder of Coinapult. He was Eric Voorhees' first partner. Everyone's been saying this for years, and finally they're going to get it done. So, you know, we kicked it off, but others finished the job, and they did a great job. And it was an independent guy who did it. It wasn't even one of the major parties. So that was even more impressive that he was a first-time senator coming in and getting all these laws passed. It just behooves you to get stuff down here, guys. Just having a backup plan. Residency is more difficult than it was 2 years ago. Before, you just had that $5,000 in a local bank, and it cost you about $5,000 to get your residency. It's not like that anymore. Now you have to own property, you have to do investment and a couple other things. But, you know, just getting ready. I think that they're going to have a digital nomad visa again. So getting a digital nomad visa will just be able to keep you in the country, and you'll be able to take advantage of some of these laws. So imagine having zero capital gains on your crypto. That's what it is. Zero. So my wife is very rich, and I married well. And, so
married up, if you will.
Married up.
And to the right.
Yeah. Listen, guys, Panamanian women are not like Colombian and Venezuelan women. They're very conservative. They're very traditional. So when you try to date, DCC is going to tell you they're very similar to Mexican women. You really got to know the family. It's not one of these things where you're gonna meet them in 5 minutes, like, hi, puppy, and you know, taking care of you and cooking for you. They're gonna be like, get your ass up and cook your own food. You know, they're a lot different, a little bit rough around the edges, but they're just as beautiful. And it's not one of these marry you in a week type things. So the easiest way to get citizenship in Panama is to marry a Panamanian. The easiest way to get your passport is just to have a Panamanian kid. You don't even have to get married. So I don't want to tell people to have kids out of wedlock, but it's
not financial advice.
But it's an easy way to get citizenship.
I consider Randy the king of Panama. So law.
You know where I'm supposed to be right now? I'm supposed to be sitting with Francis, the crypto sniper, having dinner or late lunch or whatever. But I told him I was too sick to meet with him. Because we were supposed to do it at like 1 p.m. And I was like, man, I got a live stream. And then he called me, Randy, I'm going to be a little bit late. I'm like, dude, I'm not feeling too good. So I have to postpone. And then I get this message that we're doing this an hour early today. I'm like, no, can't do it.
I do want to put one little asterisk right there when it comes to the Latina girls and stuff. At least I can only talk to the Mexican chicks. Okay, I can't talk about the rest of them. I'm talking more like that's true with the more conservative, more family oriented ones and stuff. If you're talking about a club girl,
totally different pattern.
You're gonna get your shit wrecked. I'll just say that much.
Yeah, you gotta be real careful with non-Panamanians in Panama because they have an agenda. And the one thing I do tell people about the Latinas is that if you do meet one and they don't have American residency or citizenship, or they don't have a visa already, they're looking for a reason to go to the US. Mm-hmm. So there's lots of ways you have to get that. You have to work through that to figure out if that's what their agenda is. Because like I told Anna from the beginning, I said, I'm not moving to the US. She goes, I don't want to leave my family. I'm like, perfect. When do you want to get married? It wasn't like that exactly, but you know, I'm like, this is great. I'm staying here. So.
Yes. The Fin Bear. Yeah. Got to hop over really quick. I'll get that passport signed in and I'll let you read the rest. But anyway.
That's bad.
So moving on. So that's the Panama stuff. A lot of going on down there south of the states. I guess we have this is really funny actually, if I can bring it up here. Where are we at? And just in, the president of El Salvador reveals the layout for a Bitcoin city. A Bitcoin city. And I think this probably is a worthwhile moment for one of the segments of the show, because if you take a closer look upon inspection, what kind of shape is that Bitcoin city?
Is that a hexagon?
That's a hexagon. The fuck is this?
No, that's the world's biggest diamond, sir.
When I first thought I thought it was a waffle, like a giant waffle.
You have bad ceviche and you're just hungry for good food, to get back in your system. But yeah, it's just I don't know what to think of this stuff. I mean, it's almost like a marketing ploy to me, as much as we've heard about this.
Well, Richard was talking about special economic zones, and Panama's the king of special economic zones. We have within 10 minutes that way. I've got one. I got one 5 minutes that way. I got just over the bridge by the airport. There's a huge one where you can live and you can operate a business tax-free. Live in Panama, but you're in a tax-free zone. So you can set up your shop in there. And that's what Richard's talking about, where instead of setting up a country, you could set up a tax in a tax-free zone. And it just takes money, and you can find a piece of land that's not being used and work with whatever country you want to and put a special economic area. Mexico could be another one. I've heard they've done them there too. I do want to say something really quick about the world events that are happening with it looks like a blockade going on in China, even though it's just them shutting down their production. And I think they're agreeing with the WEF, and they want to, they're just pawns in this whole game. I think the biggest winner of all this, really quick, is going to be Mexico, because Mexico's already got the production to be able to ramp up, to be able to start building things again that the U.S. needs. And you guys are going to start seeing a real shortage of manufactured goods in the U.S. in the coming months. I think Mexico is going to be the biggest beneficiary, because they're already ready. It's going to take the U.S. a couple of years to rebuild their production. Mexico is going to be the biggest beneficiary, and they're trying to put the world in different, split it up in position, different sections. And I think the North American, South American, Central America, it's going to be one zone. And right now, Mexico is set. I spent 6 months there or 7 months there last year, and I saw manufacturing everywhere. Mexicans knows where it's at. They're really good at it. Panama's got the financial set. The U.S. has all, their financial things as well, because they're the center of the world when it comes to that stuff. Canada's got the oil. I mean, it just makes sense.
Yeah, there's a nationalizing theme that I think we could see, and not necessarily in crypto, because that's worldwide, but just in terms of certain markets and stocks. Like one of my favorite examples is Intel, to where they could very well be bringing a lot of their production back into the States and focusing, not just Intel, but a lot of businesses, because if you're spread far around the world and you don't have control of world events, and things get shut down across seas, or laws change, then you're kind of out of the loop, and then you're playing catch up, and it's like, man,
globalization, it just failed. Globalization's had massively failed. It just showed its true colors right now, and I think we're going more local again. So, as someone was saying, gun laws in Panama, as long as you're a resident, you can get whatever you want. They lifted the ban. They had a ban here set from 3 presidents ago, and they lifted it about 2 years ago. My buddy just bought a bunch of guns, a semi-automatic, or like an automatic shotgun. He bought a bunch of other things recently. He's just waiting on delivery. So yeah.
I actually got one of those. They're pretty cool. You can get like a 5 or 10.
So does it automatically take out your shoulder too?
I mean, you got to be careful, but yeah, it's still pretty cool. You can saw a door in half without even,
You can saw a door in half.
Yeah, there's actually a video on YouTube about it. So, I'm actually going to try to do that this summer with it.
Oh my God! Please make a video, man. Make a video.
Have you seen the shotgun shells with dumbbells in it? Like it's a dumbbell or something inside of it.
What?
They flip.
It's a solid slug, except it literally looks like a little dumbbell in the middle in there.
That sounds so damaging.
Oh, dude, it is death, bro. That is like, oh my God, it's so terrible.
Well, what's next here on the list? I think we gotta just get into it. I know we wanted to wait for Motley and Wendy's, but I figured dollar cost. You spoke at length in one of your live streams earlier this week, and this just opens up a whole can. I mean, we can talk about Luna, we can talk about stables, but this entire debacle, I don't know how much, I guess we want to go into how it happened. I guess it's, pretty good, just as a basic layout to kind of understand, like if there's like a Cliff Notes version for those, maybe who just tune into this show and try to catch up on like the week's news. Do you have like a 60-second explainer? And like, because this just gets into a whole, I guess, array of conversations that we could go down different paths and such. But yeah, just start us off.
Right. So I'm going to say three things, right? Like there's the most likely culprits in this whole thing, right? So there's basically BlackRock Citadel, essentially, that I would give that probably a 60% likelihood that they probably did this. 20% to Justin Sun, actually being a part, Justin Sun and a couple other guys from some Chinese exchanges did this. And then the other side is guys, Alameda, which is FTX, alongside of Three Arrows Capital, possibly did this. That's the three main culprits right now, but nobody is like 100% sure right now. There's literally but there's four of them, but there's one that I don't think that's really likely. Those are the three main culprits right now. I'm leaning more towards it was a government inside job because they're trying to push out the central bank digital currencies. But I want to let you guys know that those are the other two possible. Those are the only players big enough and have enough money and resources to actually pull this off, basically. So yeah, so let me just get started. Basically, Jesus Christ, this is such a clusterfuck, man. Oh my God. All right.
And I mean, we can get into the stables part like after, I guess, the intro, because you had some great points in your video, and I know there's a great clip out there of that. But yeah, I mean, I guess we can start kind of at the beginning to get our heads around it.
Yeah. So basically, basically Do Kwon started purchasing a lot of BTC as a reserve asset. What was going on is that they ended up paying people out on what's called the Anchor Protocol, 20%. A lot of capital started going there and some parking capital there, so it was very liquid. So people from the Luna Foundation could actually sell Luna or convert it to UST and then use that money to then purchase assets in the real world. And they started purchasing BTC at high prices, basically, and backing up their coin that way. So with the price going down, some of their capital went down. So it ended up being to this point where they were kind of under collateralized. But no one had but just because it's under collateralized, as long as no one's but because that 20% is there, no, it wasn't unpegging or anything like that. So then some people started purchasing quite a lot of UST and then started market dumping it and shorting Luna using that capital, and it just created sort of a death spiral that just started breaking the peg, basically. Then Do Kwon started selling BTC. At first they said it was a loan, but it was actually, I think they ended up just selling BTC, I think $750 million. And they sent some, I think, over to Jump Capital and a couple of the other players in that space to try to go back and forth on the peg to try to keep the coin UST from going from 90 cents down to where it is currently at zero, basically. Actually, I think it's still worth a little bit, but I wouldn't trust that number. And oh my God, dude! It just keeps getting, because the way the system works is that they will keep selling Luna in order to try to repeg it, but because they can't peg it, it keeps printing it out. I forgot the last amount of coins. Trillions, yeah, it's trillions and trillions of Luna out here. And honestly, my heart goes out to a lot of the people who held Luna as a major part of their portfolio. Me and Charlie, as well as quite a lot of people, told people, hey, we're the price of BTC is kind of down right now, but yet Luna's at all-time highs right now, where most other coins are really not even close to their all-time highs. So we were telling people to, take their profits or get out of it at that point. And some people were speculating basically at it at $30, $20. Got wrecked on that. People got wrecked on that, and then just kept buying it all the way down and stuff like that. it's just that's pretty much the synopsis of what happened. Is it essentially was a death spiral run on the bank basically, and then the system kept printing coins trying to save itself, and people on the other side were shorting it and not letting the peg go back up, as well as so they kept the peg down. So even if the peg possibly could have gone back to $1, but other forces were selling down UST and keeping it from essentially going back up. And then from there, it got to the point where it was just a negative feedback loop at that point. And then confidence was lost. And there you go. Do Kwon has been like, I think recently he's actually, I think he just, I can't read Korean or I can't read Korean. So, but I'm just going off of like things that I saw in the news. But basically people were starting to come to his house.
Yep.
And
his wife got threatened.
Yeah. And some of his kids, some family members, I think they found out about his house through some family. So he took some of his family members to some conferences there in Korea, and people recognized where they lived, and they managed to track and figure out where he lived. And, now he's in the process of like getting out of the country, selling his house basically, and stuff like that. I'm there, bro. It's no bueno. So, yeah, I think at the peak, it may have been worth $38 billion. The old Luna market cap and stuff. So I don't know what the current market cap is. It's probably 100 million less if I had to look. But really, damn.
I do have a reason. I want to tell people why I never got into Luna.
Yeah. Because
I am an old school BitShares Steam guy who remembers Dan Larimer and his algorithmic stablecoins, how they always failed and they always depegged because it could never stay pegged. I remember when Steam went from $1 all the way up to $13.50. And then it went all the way back down to like 60 cents over a couple month period. And I said, this algorithmic coins for some reason don't work. And when I saw Luna come along, I'm like, oh, how long is this one going to last? I mean, they have lots of money and it might last a while, but someone's going to turn a blind eye for a second and it's going to get smashed. And I saw it happen with Dan Larimer's coins. I consider Dan a friend. He's the one that got me hired at Steemit. I don't know. I just don't have a thing. Let's have do we need stables? That's the question. If we got rid of stables, then the government might leave us alone because that's what they consider a threat. They consider the stables a threat to their USD. So let's call it something else, and let's have stables that are backed by something like, I don't know, Hex.
Right. At some point, we're going to have all that, but I mean, I personally think it's been the U.S. prerogative. The United States government loves that all cryptocurrencies are essentially valued in dollars.
Yep.
So it overall it weakened because as soon as somebody in a third world country or developing nation gets into crypto, they get into either Hex or any of the other coins. Well, magically they have access to the dollar, and then why would they go back to their natural currency? Because it's like people can go into the dollar and then go back into their currency, and look at that, they have more of their own local currency. Because like even though the dollar is inflating, the other currencies are inflating even faster. So it's just like, wow, it's like why would you get into the Mexican peso versus the dollar, basically?
You guys, let's bring up the liquid loan stable. Now, liquid loan stable it's a lot different. I think it's just backed by Pulse, right? So, you guys, I invested. I sacked. I'm sure everybody else sacked for liquid loans too. Does anybody have something to say about it? Because I see someone's asking about it, and I'm not a stable guy. That's not one of my concerns. So.
Real quick before we get in this, is there any feedback, Cabana? Because I'm trying this with speakers for the first time.
You sound pretty good.
Okay. John, you can do liquid loans. I talked about it a little bit on GRC. There's some stuff I like and there's some I don't.
I mean, yeah, of course, just drop it on me.
Go for it, bro.
Yeah, I'll talk on it.
Anytime you have like an algorithmic stablecoin, there's going to be like some level of danger. Even if the underlying asset is Pulse, people will use like DAI as an example. Well, I don't know if you guys remember, but DAI had like its stress tests and it almost failed at one point when there was like cascading liquidations. Crazy. I remember that day. I think it was like called Black Monday I think it was Black Monday, and everybody on the Ethereum forums was losing hundreds of thousands of dollars back. It was crazy. And yeah, so I mean, like these things, and ETH was already out for years at that point. So you have a new asset that's going to be more volatile. You know, what does Richard say about, you know, leverage, right? What are the 3 ways to get wrecked? And it is leverage, so you have to, like, you know, admit that there's going to be people that are not responsible, right? I mean, like, are we thinking that nobody's going to get liquidated? Like, so then the question is, how many? So what you saw with Luna was that it was likely coordinated, but there's a couple things that can happen, right? So the big thing that happened with Luna was that tons of liquidity was removed. Okay, so imagine you have a stable pair. So the one thing to think about with stablecoin pairs is that the reason that you hold a stablecoin is because you're risk adverse. You don't want any swing, right? You want to stay in the dollar because you think assets are going to swing. So if your stablecoin starts losing value, that's like literally the opposite of what you want. Like, you want no volatility. So what'll happen, as we know, when you have a liquidity pair, you're accumulating. It's basically a trading position, and you have 2 coins, right? So let's say you have USDC and USDL for an example, right? If USDL came off peg, you would start selling your USDC, which is $1, for USDL, which could be like 95 cents, right? So what happens in a scenario, right, like that, right? Let's say I have $1 million on one side, $1 million on the other side. If all of a sudden I'm giving up all these $1 coins and accumulating like coins that are worth 95 cents, if I'm a liquidity provider, what am I going to do? I'm going to remove liquidity and I'm going to dump the one side because it's causing me, you know, too much losses. So, you know, you could see that. And then what happens is when liquidity goes down, it becomes more volatile. So now you have these people that are dumping 1 million at a time, right? And so that's essentially like kind of what happened with Luna. It wouldn't be as bad because it's not built into the underlying like Pulse system. But to say that like you can't have cascading liquidations or anything like that, you can't have a black swan event, you absolutely can. So you have to know that risk, and you know, people need to understand that. I mean, I think the thing is like UST was masquerading as a legit stablecoin. It was on many exchanges. It was on, you know, and there's no warnings, right? So like, as long as you know the risks with algo stablecoins, so like there was pros and cons, right? The pros were you were getting 20% APY. It existed for over a year, right? And so if, for example, you saw the warning signs and you had been getting the 20%, and you saw the warning signs, you saw when everything started falling apart and you got out, you probably didn't lose any money. It was the people that couldn't, you know, get to the computer in time. It took like a couple days. Those are the people who got screwed the most. Exchanges held money. You know, exchanges weren't giving back deposits. Some of them were saying that they were like they suspended deposits and withdrawals, and so then they're holding on to your UST, right? And then it's becoming worthless every hour, right? So there was a lot of people like that. So
shut up, Binance.
yeah, it was not just Binance; it was FTX. Coinbase had issues, and man, I was watching in real time. The liquidity was insane. And it was millions and millions and millions of dollars on Uniswap drained. Euro. You could sell $2 million for $8,000 on Uniswap. It started like really pegging. Curve Pool. So there was Curve Pool 3 and then Curve Pool 4 that was getting set up. The interesting thing about this is that so 4 Pool was about to be infiltrated into all of DeFi. So like UST was already like pretty pervasive, and the strategy, yeah, it could have been a lot worse. The strategy behind that is if it's in enough pools and in enough places, then, you know, kind of like you have USDT, right? Like people know that there's probably issues with what's backing USDT, but it's literally pervasive in the whole system. So there is people that are going to arb it and stuff like that, and you know, but it is an entire risk for the whole system, you know, and that is the thing. Stablecoins is that like if you have a backing, right? So like let's say that USDL or let's just say any stablecoin. Let's say UST was backing Hex, right? So it's UST backing Hex. If UST goes to 0, what happens to Hex?
It brings down the value, and that's and you don't need to use Hex. You need to use the example that's going to take place. Else. It's Pulse. So Pulse. It's backed by Pulse, and this is the argument Liquid Loans brings up. It's like, well, there's no shortcoming in the backing, which is going to be Pulse. You can always transfer for $1 equivalent of Pulse. doesn't mean that the value of Pulse is going to maintain. If you get this bank run situation, the value of Pulse, just like it's going to pump the price of Pulse, and I won't disagree there. Like this, liquid loans, everything can pump the price of Pulse through the moon. But we get into this bank run kind of scenario, it could do the exact same opposite. And you can still trade out for $1 Pulse, but the value of Pulse is going to continue to run down, or liquidations occur, and you get into this cascade event that we saw before. So it's not immune either. And it's the same thing. It is 1-to-1 back, but what it's backed by is going to become more and more devalued as it starts that spiral, if it occurs. So these are situations that can occur.
People get greedy. I mean, that's at the end of the day, like this is a market of just people, right? And people, we always do the same things over and over and over. And during hysteria, we're like, oh my God, PulseChain's it's doing its 1,000x or it's 5,000x or whatever, whatever the narrative is during that time. People are going to borrow up the weight, like they're. And I sacrificed for liquid loans. I know pretty everyone else here probably did too as well and stuff like that. But and I like the coin and stuff. But people are, this is the real first time that a lot of hexagons are going to be able to get direct leverage on one of their assets and stuff like that, outside of just borrowing on other crypto assets outside of the space. But so people are going to do really. I mean, there's like small. What's going to end up happening is that they're putting out a narrative of like doing the small strategy of just borrowing 10% on the asset or something like that. But at some point, it's not going to be enough to them because you get greedy.
Right.
Everybody gets greedy, and it causes a positive feedback loop until that breaks, and then you have a negative feedback loop. Yep.
I got a question for you guys. When USDT started dropping a little bit, did everyone get nervous? I sure got nervous. I was like,
someone swapped out the last bit of their UST.
Is this a cascade event? Are we going to get screwed really bad? And I'm sick as a dog, guys. You guys just got in, but I'm really sick. And I was sitting there laying on the couch, like in pain. I'm like, oh no, please, I don't need this.
Honestly, I thought it was highly unlikely. But the issue was that you had like influencers that were like, and I think some of them were like playing the game. They were like fudding it. So because you could have made, like if I would have swapped, because I had a lot of USDC at the time, I would have swapped USDT to USDT and then just like went to sleep and then woken up, I would have made 6 figures. Like, that's crazy, right? Like, and I could have did it with DAI too. But the market was, I mean, that was probably like, I've been in crypto a long time. You guys have been in crypto a long time. That was probably the craziest night I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like that was pure chaos. Like I've never seen people freaking out like that.
The speed,
of the deterioration. The other thing is that like, so if you're holding a lot of USDT and USDT dies, you have bigger problems than money lost because all of crypto would take a hit that it might not recover from. It might kill crypto realistically because you're talking what $80 billion. You
devalue a shit ton of cryptos.
You would devalue almost everything. It would be really bad. The government would all governments would go crazy. Like just be terrible.
UST. Well, do you know what the top market cap was for UST during like its peak?
I think it was like I'm not 100% sure, but it might have been like around higher.
I think it broke up there.
Not 100% sure, but the last I saw was like 18 billion before it started going crazy. Yeah, probably like a little over 20 billion.
So probably like if we were just to like if I was just to do all right, so it's 4 times. So so Tether is 4 times larger. Let's just say give or take, So let's just say it's 4 times. So if Tether were to like collapse, it would be 16 times worse, basically.
Yeah,
it's no joke.
Well, look what it's backing up, right? Like it would cause total pandemonium. Be really bad, and like there's so many people that got burned. Like I think like a lot of people were like cheering what happened in UST, and it's actually like really sad. You have people like at least 8 people killed themselves, hundreds of people lost everything, and this is going to leave a permanent scar on crypto, guys. Like you got to think now. There's going to be people that know of people that killed themselves because of crypto. Well, do you think anybody that knows that person is going to ever give crypto a chance? No, they're not. People that lost everything, do you think they're ever going to give? So it's like just like adoption, people seeing success, right? Seeing people like living their best life can bring people to crypto. Seeing people absolutely lives destroyed by cryptos can absolutely do the opposite effect.
Well, we talked about this on Whale Stream, I think the other day. Like when stablecoins got introduced into crypto, I think honestly it's kind of a Achilles heel. And I know people are, and this is what you see stem from it. You see this kind of search for the perfect algorithmic stablecoin. And to be honest, I don't know if Liquidity has come up with that. Clearly, Luna did not, because everything else is UST is freaking, it's backed. We don't know if it's actually backed or not. USDC has an off switch. Like all the stable coins have a very serious issue. And these things, if they destroy, they get nuked, the off switch gets flipped, like we were talking about earlier, like you could really destroy all of crypto. And where are those kill switches at? They're in the hands of government or big corporations. Like it's stable coins could do some serious damage, and Luna was just a small taste of it.
Empty. I've been pretty upset about this. I'm particularly disgusted with the big influencers. Yeah, I mean so many. They need to be investigated heavily. The Moon Carl like just posted he bought like 20.
Yeah, totally reckless.
They're still going after it, and they want to be that one guy who
that makes the right call.
Yeah, if there's some miracle bottom, they want to be that one guy to be like, if you followed me, then you would have made 1,000x. Where everybody's already wrecked. Anyway,
the bottom is zero. It's literally zero.
It has to be now. Like,
we're going to see
get up off the mat.
Yeah, we're going to see how close we can approach this number right here. And there is it's
well, this is the
race to the bottom. This shit's going to complete zero. It's proven itself to be broken, and all these idiots keep trying to fucking, like you said, either they're trying to make the right call, or they think, hey, there's so many zeros in front of it now, like it's a great buy. Like whatever their reason logic is, they need to remove themselves from it and understand it is a broken project. And like John was saying earlier, people have killed themselves, literally killed themselves at this point, and they continue to do this. And these people are so detached from the impact they have. Like people listen to them, people come to them for education in the space, and they continue to throw that shit out there. Like they are responsible for borderline, like killing people. It's murder almost. Like there's people with life savings on that are relying on these guys to be the experts. They're like, haha, I bought in at 0.0005 for 20 grand. And it's not even their own damn money. It's shit they've milked from their audience that they got from referral links and courses and shills. And it's not even their own money they're throwing into. So bullshit.
And part of it is that people don't even understand math, right? So I saw yesterday on Twitter that some guy said Luna is down 96%. Yeah, Luigi is down. It's down 96%. I can only
go down 4.
So he does a big long, and then he's like, "What the fuck, scammed? It's down 90%." So here's a math lesson for you. You can lose 90% infinite.
Yes.
There is no zero. It just the decimal point moves. So if you put $100 in, it doesn't matter if it drops 90% 100 times from now. You can still lose that $100. So it's just total gambling. Like people don't realize that.
That's why it was so good when Richard posted the chart. He's like, "Let me draw 95% down for you 5 times." Like he's like,
"Here we go." Like 27 minutes later, it's down another 95%.
Yeah. Like, zero is a misnomer. You don't hit zero; it just gets delisted. You can't trade it. That's zero.
Yeah. And on top of that, Luna has that little infinity next to the max supply.
Billions mentioned.
Trillions
by now. I don't keep track anymore.
Gifford Ware asks, how do you decorrelate, in a perfect world, I guess, your asset from the rest of crypto without using a stable?
Like Hex, personally?
You do like, well, he's saying like, what would you back Hex with? You do like Pax or something like that. Another asset that's not got silver.
I think it's just never going to be perfect.
Yeah,
never.
It's just never going to be perfect. You just have moments. You just have moments of strength, like when there's like a giant flash crash. Even Hex goes down, not as much as everything else, but then after that, community gets together and then we go up basically. But then from there it calms down. So there's just periods of strength in shitty times.
It's basically fear and greed, right? Fear and greed is contagious, right? So at the end of the day, like you get a bunch of people together and they're sheep. You ever see large crowds and what they do? It's like they're not acting rationally, right? You see at concerts and stuff like that. If something terrible happens, you're like, wait, why are these people doing that? Why are they acting that way? It's because you get large groups of people together. We all just start acting like herds, right? You know, we just go into like pack
stampede, trampling,
stampede, exactly, all that kind of stuff. So it's the same thing. We're not exempt from that, you know, and we see that as the community grows, the community has changed so much since, you know, we got in, right? Like it's almost unrecognizable now. As it keeps getting bigger, it's going to keep changing and changing over time. And, you know, same thing happened with Bitcoin, same thing happened with Ethereum back in the day. It's just, these are things like with the number scale, you know, things start getting different.
If you're in tune with, like, I mean, you can, Hex is a prime example, because like you're really in tune with the community, like a lot of us are. We're so embedded in this community. Like you can go on crypto Twitter, Telegrams, and you can just, it's almost like this tangible thing. You can feel the mood shift. Like I can just instantly feel the community. It's like, oh, they're bullish, everyone's rallying, like, and the price chart instantly shows it. Just like, oh yeah, like I could just feel the community was just bullish this morning. Like when Richard went on stream and he didn't give us another 4 more weeks, he's like, no, it's still mid-May. Instantly, I could just feel just the shift. Everyone's just like, holy shit, here we go. Like this new ecosystem's coming. Everyone's bullish, and then the price chart immediately reflected it. And it's the same thing here. It's just like, okay, we're still very bullish and we have PulseChain and everything coming, but then we had this catastrophic event for crypto. We're not completely immune from it. Like everyone's seeing the devastation, the horror, everything else going down. So, I mean, Hex is still impacted, like DC was saying, maybe not as much, but it still shifts that herd mentality that exists, and you can see it in the price chart.
And one of the things that like people, so one of the reasons that people think that like crypto is more of a risk on asset is because people hold multiple assets, right? So if you're a stock trader and you have a large stock portfolio, you also have Bitcoin and other cryptos. Maybe you lost a ton of money on Netflix, right? So now you have to sell Bitcoin, ETH to cover your losses. Maybe you live off that, right? And you're like, man, I just took an 80% loss on Netflix. Like Bitcoin's down 40-50%. I'm going to sell that, and so I don't have to sell, you know, my Netflix, whatever. I think Netflix is down, something like that. So people hold more than one asset, and so, you know, these kind of things can happen. You know, people get scared, contagious.
Exercise. You guys have a favorite stablecoin? Kind of a necessary evil. Mine is USDC for now, maybe DAI, but it's practically USDC.
USDC for now.
Yeah. I mean, and here's the other thing. I mean, I see this every day in the community. Like sometimes, so in the beginning, when I used to hear Richard just like talk like a broken record, I was like, why is he always saying the exact same thing? And it's because like people don't get it. You have to repeat yourself.
Important points,
like,
you gotta just keep.
Yeah, you just have to like keep nailing it, you know, over and over and over again. So people think that like it's just going to be the PRC20s. They don't think wrapped stablecoins are going to come over. Like they're going to come over. I don't know what to tell you. Like people are going to bring USDC over to PulseChain.
I will.
Yeah, I will too.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be like, well, I think the stable would be wrapped USDC, right?
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More than likely, at least to start. I mean, well, liquid loans isn't even done yet, right? So
yeah, that'll take, I guess, 30 to
time.
60 days.
So,
I'm guessing, but
right. So,
Richard's talked about doing his own as well, so that's still petition.
yeah, we can get into that a little later because there's a couple points that he brought up in that Wendy O interview. A few more
he's
questions.
coming after everybody's project.
Yeah,
He just, I mean, I think he's just decided crypto is a lost cause. He's just like, fuck it,
I'm just gonna fix everything.
I'll just build it all.
do
Build
the
it all
entire planet of
over here.
crypto.
Yeah.
Is Pulse or PulseX at risk due to the sacrifice address owning hundreds of millions of stables, DAI, and USDC?
I'm right on that. Like, why would it?
Well, no.
Yeah, I would side with no.
Yeah, it's definitely no. But
if you
why?
like, yeah, if you
I
like,
just, I just want to hear the reasoning.
I'd like to expound on that clairvoyant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see what else in here. Yeah. Wrapped Luna on pause. Pass. Al Bundy, what's going on? See you in chat. What else is going on? Yeah, I mean, we can get into that Wendy stream because we kind of touched on it there. Wendy O, not our Wendy's here, but
right.
So a stable designed by Richard Hart. We know he has the dev team that's ever growing. What would that look like, or what would you like to see it look like? Because I'm trying to like imagine, you know, the backing and how it just
Well,
operates.
know he's
We've
got-
seen the
we know he's got
flaws,
the money to
obviously.
back it.
I think at this point, for me personally, I think it's pretty simple. I want 1-to-1 back because, in my opinion, that's all that's really worked. I want 1-to-1 back. I think he's got the money and he's got the war chest to do it, and no off switch like USDC has. And for me, I would be comfortable with that. You know what you're getting. You're getting a stable coin that's pegged to the US dollar, 1-to-1 back, no kill switch.
I'd like to see like a couple, right? US dollar, maybe like the British pound, euro, like
Why though? Just to create a
just to have
forex trading.
Hey, more trading on PulseX.
More.
I'm cool.
True. Very true.
Bring the Forex boys over, guys. Bring the Forex boys over.
Yeah, pretty much. I guess.
And that was Dan Larimer's.
That's like the biggest market, right? That's like the biggest market in the world is like Forex, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I
Bring
bring
them over.
go after that.
That was Dan Larimer's dream with BitShares. He wanted everything to be on the blockchain, and he wanted everyone to trade on BitShares. I mean, I'm sorry if I'm talking to you guys. If anybody doesn't know what BitShares was, get out your encyclopedia of crypto and go back in the day. But he was a guy that talked to Satoshi. You know, this is Dan Larimer, and his dream was that everyone used BitShares to trade to get rid of the Forex market so that we could libertarianize the whole crypto market. And yeah, it failed, but it was a good experiment. And I think PulseX could be like
It's a lot different now too.
Yeah, things are a lot different now. Now we have smart contracts that can blow what BitShares did out of the water. Come on, man. Yeah, let's bring all the Forex boys over. That's a lot of money, a lot of trading. And for those of us who are
Can you imagine that volume on PulseX? Oh my god, that would be insanity.
If I had a guess, which I mean, if it is going to be fiat backed and stuff like that, it's either going to be from a Singapore bank or Swiss, I guess. But I mean, it's
really
hard. I'm
depends
just trying
on-
to figure out how he's going to back without using USDC and stuff like that. You know?
It just depends on what bank is going to be
Right.
willing to do business with, right? Like he's got to have some connections in that area, and he's talked about it on a stream from the past. Like he's looking into banks, but he was pretty much like, yeah, like I need my own bank, or like I need to find a bank that's willing to play ball, essentially, to do the one-to-one backing stable.
If the US wasn't so cunty, they could have just used Silvergate or some shit like that. Or but you know, yeah.
There was somebody in our community that back in the day, I say back in the day, like last September or so, who were looking at getting a stable coin in Switzerland. They were doing trips back and forth, and they were trying to figure it out. And I think it was for a stable coin for PulseChain, and maybe Richard's working with them. I can't remember who it was because they stopped making content, but it was interesting. They're working on it.
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about. Swedish helicopter. Oh, well, I know.
It could have. It was somebody from Europe, and they
I
kept
saw it
talking
on
about
Twitter, I think.
Was it
Yeah.
on Twitter?
I think so.
So people are already thinking about it, and Richard could just tap into a couple of those guys that are bankers and stuff, and they'll figure it out.
If anybody's gonna figure it out soon,
Yeah.
I got faith.
We pretty much have anything you can think of in this community, so I'm sure the connections.
Richard Hart comes with a project and was just like, how much do I write on this blank check, sir?
Right.
Pretty much. That's what happens when you have billions of dollars and.
Yeah, he's got like a whole slew of devs now, just churning out tendies.
What do you say on Windio's last stream? It's like somewhere between like I think 14 and 17 devs. He was in the process of like 3 more. Like he's. And he's like, yeah, they're in the process of essentially like quitting their former jobs. I'm like, he's out here stealing everyone's devs. You got talent. Richard Hart pays better.
It's Mr. Steal Your Dev.
Hey Motley, can you check Wendy's mic, because like you're coming in really good, but Wendy's like coming in.
He's
choppy.
Because it's like
He's just got to get closer. It's just.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't hexo deep throat it, bro.
He's doing lean back.
Yeah.
Oh, what's
I
up,
get
Lake
closer,
Sal?
then it'll be memed. So I gotta, I can't touch.
Yeah, I got you.
Proof of beard only with like Safe USD, the only stable backed by the beard. So thanks, Markable. Appreciate
When beard coin.
your input as always. What will happen with a fiat backed stable when hyperinflation hits? Well,
Value of the dollars. Enjoy.
yeah,
I think you know what happens.
I think the answer lies within the question almost. I mean, How can Wendy O have 2 interviews already in chat with artists?
I think everyone. I want to say something about inflation. Because I'm a gold and silver guy. This is what I used to do, and I think people are discounting the fact that this USD is going to get stronger before it gets weaker. Everything else is on. It's like a dumpster fire right now. So USD, enjoy it. I mean, I just checked the numbers, and my trip to Europe is getting cheaper and cheaper by the day. So I'm actually thankful I'm in USD right now. Yeah. I was worried. I'm like, we're going to the UK. We got to go against the pound. Holy crap! It's like they're falling against the dollar. So
yeah,
I think everything is right. DXY is has been looking pretty good. So
yeah.
Shout out to everybody who is coming here on the normal time, like Motley almost did.
Sir, first of all, it was 5 p.m. Eastern, and you didn't put an update in our group chat. So
I tweeted it out with red alert icons.
Sir, I'll repeat again. You did not put it in our Telegram group chat where you always put the updates of time changes. So.
And I also said it last week that we would likely do 4 p.m. Eastern this week as well.
No confirmation.
No confirmation.
And then 60 block validators for
10 top, what's up? Who else? So everybody that came in on time, normal time. I think we'll be back normal time next week. Hexacat, no trivia this week. Maybe next week. And we have someone else. Hello, sir.
Big K.
Hello, gentlemen.
Where are you joining us from today?
I'm currently at the Miami airport right now.
Oh, I thought it was O'Hare for a second.
Oh, that's definitely Miami.
Oh yeah, you probably see crypto ads all around you.
Oh yes. You got the leverage trading facility that the FTX Center, I think it's here.
Yeah. That airport is so deceptive because you might think your gate is only like 10 or 15 gates away, and it just goes.
Yeah, you're like a 30.
I came in on a D60 gate, which like the D60 thing is like I've always looked at it and it's like, oh yeah, it's all the way down there, and this escalator, and then it goes all the way down to D60Z. Like if you can be and they're all outside, so you feel like you get a little outdoor fresh air on your way in, and then now I have to get all the way over to D24, and that's quite a ways away.
Take the train, sir. Take the train.
Oh yeah, this
they designed their airport like ranch style, like Florida. It's like a ranch. It's like a ranch style airport.
That's rough.
Yeah, it's really silly. I was just in Tampa earlier, and it was lovely.
It's amazing.
It's super easy to get around. Yep. So anyway, what's up, tomorrow?
How you doing? We're just talking a little lunatics and lunacy and stablecoins and all that stuff. So
I feel crazy already.
Yeah, it's not good for those who were in it heavily, that's for sure. And I guess this is like a good point to make is I had a tweet here somewhere, but it's also an opportunity for Hex. Not that we want to be like, hey, that's you're dumb for being in Luna and stuff like that. But it's a whole community that's out there that's kind of like hurting. So I think there is like a decent way to approach a lot of these people who were a part of their own community and have, I think, a good sense of that and what we value as a community, and our values kind of like are community driven. It sucks that they are in something that just absolutely got shit wrecked and went to zero, but at the same time there's like some outreach that we can do. I'm trying to find this tweet that was up earlier, but what do you think is a good avenue for that? I saw like the ideas of like tweet storms and things like that. Those can go either good or bad, as evident by like the Lex Friedman nonsense, but at least reaching out somehow.
I honestly think that like if you want to go after like the Luna people, Hex is probably going to be something they're not going to touch, because a lot of those guys, they were staked, and it takes like 21 days to unstake, and all their accounts went to zero. So I read plenty of comments that they were like, I'm never going to be in anything that like forces you to lock up.
Well, so my thing was
here's the tweet while you're talking about it's
so like
about PulseChain actually.
That same night, like I was talking to a lot of the Luna guys, and like I was talking to one guy in particular, and he was just telling me, it's like majority of my bag was in here. He's like, I lost it all. And I was just giving him an ear to listen to. Like people just need to talk and get that off the chest sometimes. Oh, that's okay. And so we're just talking. And then, I was telling him about Hex. I was like, look, yeah, it's the staking feature, but you explain everything. It's like, this is a mutable code. It's always going to pay out the same amount. Like it's simple. It's simple in the fact that it's always going to pay you out what it's going to pay you out. And it's like, it'll help protect you. And like, I found out like he actually did have a small Hex bag. And I was just like, look, that's good. Like, hold on to that. And I was just like, you have this gift of PulseChain, PulseX coming. These are new projects that haven't even been released yet. There's a lot of upside potential. Like, do what you can and like look into these and start investing in them. I think this is probably the safest ecosystem that you can find in crypto today. And you have a lot of opportunity coming up in the next couple of days. Try not to be too hard on yourself, down on yourself. Just figure out, okay, what's my next move? How do I overcome this? And I think PulseChain, PulseX, the gains you'll see in that early on can overcome a lot of these losses. Paying attention.
Over time, we're going to be proven to be the safest yield product,
100%,
like on the market for sure.
We are now.
Yeah, we are, but it's not, it's not proven because, people have been saying, oh, Hex is going to be the next Luna. I'm like, Peter McCormick and these losers.
Was that the bottom? Was that the bottom call right there?
Yeah, it's always that's how we always get a pump every time Peter says Hex, right? Eric Wall, comparing Hex to Luna, like these people just don't understand it. It's kind of pathetic. And then you have other people who like Crown Crypto, right, the trader, and he put out in a video and he's like, Hex guys are getting all this shit, basically everybody's saying that it's a Ponzi, and an actual Ponzi is on the front page of everything. It's on every exchange, and it hurt tons of people. Where the Hexicans killing themselves, right? Like that's just not a thing, right? Because our community is very different, and we're well informed, right? We have streams on every day where we talk in detail about game theory and stuff all the time, right? And we deeply understand our product. I don't think a lot of lunatics deeply understood what they were holding, and so that's why they got in that situation. So it is super unfortunate, and it's sad that sometimes a similar feature, right, like a lockup, can make somebody be afraid to invest in something else, because a lockup is not what killed Luna. That's not at all what killed it. That is what prevented some of them from getting out, but it was already a Ponzi scheme. It just collapsed, right? So.
Yeah. That just goes back to what we were saying earlier. There wasn't anything too unique about the Luna collapse. Like, it was, in my opinion, it was only a matter of time. It was just the speed that coordinated attack. And I'm never seeing that kind of value.
Yeah, it was pretty trippy seeing Do Kwon getting served by the U.S. government over Mirror Protocol and stuff right before he went on stage. I forgot what event it was though. I can't remember which. He went on some event, yeah.
And honestly, like, Mirror Protocol is pretty interesting to me, but it's unfortunate that. And the crazy thing is like when you think about Luna, it's like I had all these dApps, and now all the dApps go to 0 too. Crazy.
Yeah. Well, we all we gotta do is like, come on down, Hex.
Yeah, come on over to Pulse.
Paying Hex and USDC over here, sir.
Yeah.
Big K, you're muted still.
There you go, Big K. What's up?
Yeah, I said there's a lot of development groups that definitely were building on that platform that are shaking, have their head in their hands right now. That they definitely could come to a different platform, and we would be poised to take some of that business. So I mean, hopefully, but I feel really bad for all these people. That's the answer.
That lady on the bus or tram likes to talk a lot. Just saying.
Sounds like Hot Pearl. Funny enough that you have her message up. Very robotic. Well.
She's everywhere.
Yeah, I'll be in the club soon enough, gentlemen. Relax.
And he mutes himself. Okay, so
sounds like he's in Orlando trying to go to Disney World.
Yeah, exactly.
Animal Kingdom on it.
Market has felt like the Tower of Terror lately, so
yeah, it has.
Wendy's, don't say this to me right now. You're saying there's gonna be another drop. Oh no.
Well, I mean, let's throw that out there. Do we think the bottom is in?
No. Bomb's not.
I don't think it is. But I mean, it's going around the room. Is anybody
maybe a local bottom? Yeah, and I mean, I was saying it that night. I was saying that we were due for like a bounce. It's like Richard Hart always says, right? Bounces aren't illegal. Like a dip like that, like we were due for a major bounce. But
Bitcoin's still not even pushing over 30K right now. Like,
longs are already like piling up and stuff like that. I mean, personally, I think the 4-year cycle theory is interesting. Like when you measure top to top and bottom to bottom, because it basically like perfectly predicted both top and bottom last time. So if that is, kind of accurate, then we would be bottoming at the end of the year, November, December. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. And then like, so I would think, so there's like a lot of confluence at like 24K. There's a lot of like indicators pointing to like 24K for a bottom. But when you take into like macro into account, like inflation's high, they're going to have to raise the interest rates. Like I personally think that we got to go lower. And so, the 11 to 19K makes sense for a bottom, but it's going to be the end of the year. We'll probably have like another lower low in the next like 2 to 3 months, and then a final, and then there'll be a bounce, and then final low.
The only number I'm looking at right now is 21K right now, because that's like the big macro story is like that's where Sailor gets liquidated.
Yep. Then you could have Mount Gox, and you could have this again.
I mean, that could just trigger a whole cascade.
Yeah, and then you get
sells and then triggers the liquidations. I mean, you could run down to 15 real quick.
Well, that's the thing is you probably get around that 20,000 range maybe, and then you get some violent wicks down, but probably.
I don't think Sailor has much of a chance of getting liquidated. I think he'll just add more collateral at the lows, and it'll lower his average. Yeah, his cost average so low that he won't get liquidated. But
hopefully, man, that's just the news story.
That would be really bad. I mean, I just don't see that happening. Like that would be too perfect. I mean,
no, it gets because I feel obviously a lot of people here are just like in just hex. I know Wendy's are in some other coins and stuff like that and stuff, but like I know a lot of people in other coins, man. I just don't want to see that happening to them. Like
no,
not that it's gonna be more rugs,
it's not a good thing for the space, but also like leverage isn't really a good thing for the space, and so like at least maybe him getting like close to liquidation is potentially a good lesson to learn. Like damn, I almost lost it all.
Didn't think we get there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and like the one thing that I don't understand about Sailor, he's such a smart guy and stuff like. I mean, he seems like when you hear him talk, he's like a smart dude and stuff. He said some pretty dumb stuff in the past as well, but for a guy that's like so respected in the space and stuff, this guy is like levered to the fucking tits. And he's like, can I sell you this couch so I can buy more BTC? Like my wife, here you go, more BTC. I mean, like my children, BTC. I mean, like it's to like a dangerous level of like almost like.
Well, he was doing it wrong, right? So like we know that like dollar costing in the bear is how you like accumulate these coins, right? And so like in my opinion, he felt FOMO. Like I honestly believe that like he felt FOMO. He got hyped up. Yeah, he's new. And so he doesn't know how to like control that, in crypto, right? Because this is probably the most gains that, most people ever see. And when you get caught up in that, you can't separate yourself from emotion to like look at things clearly. So if he had been dollar costing, and he had a very low entry point, back in the day, and he just kind of like ruined it because he was buying the top, right, with leverage. Like that's really what screwed him. If he would have just waited, right, and would have just been DCAing in. Number one, he would have taught people, better, things. Because that's what I always say is like when I first got into crypto, I lump summed because that was always better in the stock market. In the stock market, they always tell you lump sum because time in the market, beats everything. But like crypto is so volatile that like 9 times out of 10 it is better to DCA in because it's so volatile that you'll just have these crazy move ups, crazy move downs, and it's just better to keep your average over the long term because typically we've had like 1 year of up only, and then the other is like down or accumulation. Right, so it's better to DCA if you're thinking like in a 4-year time frame. It's better to DCA because you're going to get lower prices most of the time.
Yeah, you buy on red days.
All right, so the USS Happening is coming, and I think about a year out, it'll save the Bitcoin market and it'll help all the other coins go back up. And so right now, Bitcoin's a drowning victim. It goes down, it pops its head up, gets a breath, goes back down. And, that's the only thing that's going to save it. And we need to cut that inflation again, cut it down by 50%. And that's we've been around for so long. This will be my 3rd halvening. So,
I mean, this
is how we roll.
Another 2 years though, right?
the 2 years. So I said, we got another year until we get to that. The bull market started, about 9 months before the last halvening or something like that. I don't know the exact numbers. One of you guys probably knows. I don't know the exact time when the bull market
it's usually
roughly.
It's usually like half year or even a little bit longer before, like when you really start seeing pumping.
The bottom, because when the halvening happens, you're already in an uptrend.
Yeah, everyone's the halvening, and then it's just like it's very lackluster. Like, oh,
yeah, exactly. Every time it works like this. So they'll be like, oh, it's already priced in, So we got another year. Let it drown. Let it go down. Let's get rid of the speculators. Let them lose their money. They can't help themselves. I used to be one of those traders. I was a terrible bear market trader. I was a great bull market trader. I felt like a champion, right? And then the bear market came, and then I was sitting in Krakow, and I think it was December 2019, and Bitcoin went from 6,000 down to 3,000 overnight. I'm like, I'm po. I'm like, my money just disappeared by 50%. So have hope there, guys. If you have coins outside of Hex. But if you do have PulseChain ecosystem coins, mostly, you're going to be okay. I'm pretty sure.
And it's caveat with that too, because yes, some coins outside of Hex will do just fine and snap right back. A lot will not. You really do have to make sure you're choosing the right crypto. If it's outside Hex, that's fine. But there's very little, in my opinion, that will snap back. There are some, and there's some that will just die forever. So even something like Ethereum, Ethereum's not going anywhere. I don't care if you hate the gas fees or whatever. Ethereum is here to stay. Probably the flipping narrative will still occur at some point, in my opinion. These kinds of things will come back. Cycle. But don't think because you got in fucking some doggy Inu version of Shiba or Dogecoin or whatever that it's going to spring back in the next bull market. Those things just die. They don't come back. So again, yes, you can. There's still hope if you have coins outside of Hex and everything, but make sure you're still in the right asset. If you're not in the right asset, you just might not ever come back. And even DC could tell you, he loves Litecoin, had a huge emotional attachment to Litecoin. That we'll probably never see that sucker come back to top 10. I don't.
I like Litecoin too, honestly. But at some point you have to, and that's the thing is when you're investing, you have to say at what point am I wrong, right? There's still people that are holding XRP that are hoping for $365 and they never update their worldview. Yeah. So at some point you have to be hey man,
they don't understand the math as to why that is very, very, very unlikely, if not impossible. But it's just they've heard it and it's $300. It's oh my gosh. And
it's just because the average person is really, really dumb. And then the 50% of the people, on the planet are even more dumb than the average person. And so people are just so easily swayed. And I mean, you see this on Twitter all the time, right? So look at Alex Saunders, right? Total scammer, literally outed as a scammer. Did he lose 40,000 subs? No.
Right back up again.
He's gaining them.
Wait,
Carl the Moon has a million people following him on Twitter. Pathetic. Literally, the guy bets with his viewers' money because they get liquidated. He gets paid, and then he does these stupid bets. You know what I mean? So it's there's just unfortunately, there's a lot of stupid people out there. Yeah, it's sad, but I do think that some coins will bounce back. I gotta say, I think Doge will have another run again. Elon.
We gotta talk to our boy Elon.
Yeah, Elon. The next cycle, Elon's gonna pump it again. Yeah. I think SHIB will bounce back, but the caveat is these things will potentially go down 99%, 98% in this bear market.
And a strong chance of maybe never coming back.
Yeah, the Doge. If you look at the Dogecoin chart versus Bitcoin over the years, it looks like a heartbeat because it always has had its pump against Bitcoin. There's been I'd say 8 to 10 chances for you to quadruple plus your money if you're going straight from Bitcoin to Doge over the past 8 years. I mean, so sure, it'll have its day. But when is that?
Every dog has its day.
To wait? What kind of, what kind of tolerance do you have for that? I mean, and how quickly are you ready to sell?
Yep.
Yeah. Speaking of our Twitter conversation, he might not even get it right now. I still think he gets it, but I think he's just trying to get, maximizing. his deal because he's like, hey, these numbers, I kind of doubt them. Prove that they're real, and if they're not, then.
And he had that card the whole time.
Oh,
he knew
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't buy, the actual user count. Like, there's way more bots out there than what they're letting on.
I used to have over 25 accounts.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Cabana, are you saying the Twitter stock value isn't what it's all cracked up to be? Like, weird.
Well, I was like under 40 today last I checked, but
I bet you there's a lot of stocks like that.
Yeah.
Wasn't Goldman saying that it was supposed to be 30 would be more of a fair value?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a chat from a Chad. Ask Dollar Cost Crypto directly if he thinks we're in a bear market. DCC,
Dun, dun, dun.
are we in a bear?
Yes or no? Don't skirt the question.
No.
Oh, what would convince you to call it a bear? We're in a bear, bro. Come on.
I don't know. I mean, like, the thing is, like, there's always things to do. I mean, there's always things to do in this work and stuff. I mean, that's what I truly believe. That's what I truly believe. I mean, I said no. I mean,
denial cost crypto.
Yeah, I just dollar cost average and shit. I mean, this is. I mean, I literally stay true to what I say and stuff. I mean, I'm heavy in hex. It don't feel like a bear market when you're heavy in hex.
Well, I know it doesn't feel like a bear market, but like, if we can all change our worldview, like I kind of thought this cycle, like we could see 6-figure Bitcoin, but then it proved it, after time not, and now I'm like in the bear camp for a while, probably for at least a few more months. But so you're sticking with the bull.
I think we still have one little more pump up and stuff like that. I don't think we're gonna get to like all time highs or anything like that. But I do believe we still got another like, what did Richard say? Like, pumps aren't illegal. So
yeah, I got you. But I mean, just like
we're gonna make a lower low.
Yeah, we've made. I guess we just did, right? But we're going to make another one, I think.
Yeah.
So isn't that like a bear? Like it's been over a year. And then we can resume bull.
Sure.
Yeah. DCC.
Please. That's what I want, at least.
Tell us we're in a bear market so we can go up.
He said no.
Right, let's we're in the bear market. There we go. Look. Bear markets and numbers go up. There we go. Bear markets and numbers go up. Let's go.
All right. There we go.
I mean, this is Hex 2.0 for us. We launched in the bear market with Hex. Let's do that with PulseChain, and boom.
There you go. Well, yeah. Randy, that brings up one of my
beautiful segue,
points.
Randy.
One of my final points for this show for Motley Investor down there. So, Alex Lorenzo, who interviewed Richard, I guess it was like maybe month ago or something like that. Put out his please, Richard Hart, do not launch PulseChain because of liquidity concerns video, and then you immediately disputed it, and then of course he made a follow up to it. But
hey, we told him we'll stream with him anytime.
Yeah,
I would love that.
Do it. I'd love to see it.
All this stuff was just non sequitur, nonsensical. Like the arguments didn't make any sense. Catastrophic failure if we don't launch during Bitcoin halving. Then you try to bring up liquidity issues. Don't know what those two things have in similarity, anyways.
I think like one of his main points was just like if we're explaining it in the most basic form as possible, like bear market. Bad, like liquidity, just dries up. We have a Luna situation.
Have we learned nothing from Hex?
This is the problem. Like me and John went and did some research on his old stuff afterwards because like he did the video is like 5 minutes of him trying to lend himself credibility because anyone that's been in the community knows that he hasn't really been involved with it. It's like his first clout thing was just like, oh well, I talked about Hex before it ever launched. I was one of the few, if not only, Hex influencers, which I thought was hysterical. I was just like,
not an influencer. I will say he was one of the more mainstream guys that actually admitted he got some Hex.
Do you know that in all of his videos he said don't buy Hex?
Every single one. Every video it was
because he'd already cashed out.
I wouldn't buy Hex now. I wouldn't buy Hex now.
He said get it for free in the claim, and then he's like, but I wouldn't know. Putting your Ethereum in, that's a whole different story.
And then he tried to argue, just like, well, hexagons don't believe in trading, but I disagree. Like, I think it's a necessary thing to earn profits and all this stuff. It's like, well, if that's the case, like you talk about how essentially that little bit of free claim Hex you had, and I think he did like a 0.08 ETH buy. bought him a car, and that staking feature probably got him to the point where he was actually able to do that with so little money put in, because he was actually able to realize those crazy amount of years yield where he probably would have traded out anyways. And the thing is, it's just like, yeah, sorry, bro. Like there's a difference between rich and wealthy. And like, if you actually use the mechanisms that Hex gives you to kind of get away from that trading mentality of finding the right asset, holding it, and then it happens to have the beautiful aspect of paying you while you hold, it's just superior to trading every way. And every hexagons that has continued to bot and stake over time has absolutely proven it. And people that trade in and out of different coins and even dabble in other parts of the market, and like, I'm much more Hex and Richard Hart ecosystem focused than say Tindy's is, for example. And like, there was times where he was way ahead of me, and then like I would surpass him because like I kept on it, right? And like he's learned a lot and taught me a lot of cool stuff, but he's also run into a lot more pitfalls than I have trading in and out of different things. Whereas staking, and it's that like diversification is bullshit sometimes. If you know you have the right product, and if it truly is something that's revolutionary and changes the name of the game and how this space works, like, man, it's not a bad thing to say, okay, I'm willing to go all in on this. Because look at it now. Everyone's destroyed with these third party, these algorithmic stable coins, everything. Like, people are trying to find this yield, and Hex gives you trustless
node per service. Those
trustless
guys wrecked
yield.
99% down.
And Richard says all the time, it's like, man, like that 15, 20%, all this stuff that this yield you're getting to space that claim to be DeFi, but they're just using the buzzword. They're all good until they're not, until you get a Luna situation and your $2 million something is now worth less than $100. It seemed like it was
96 cents.
Seems like it was good at the time. And then it's catastrophic failure. Like, oh, fuck, like it's all gone. And so there was just so many points that I disagreed with him on that. But big thing, it's just, to me, it was just standard YouTuber stuff. Catastrophic failure. We need to wait till Bitcoin halving. If he was here the whole time, he'd realize Hex was raised in the bear market, did amazing. Even in his chart, he was just like, oh yeah, until the Bitcoin halving came, like, look how flat the chart is. Like, there was barely any price action. He wasn't even in log, bro. We went back to the dates we went.
God.
Put it in log. It did a 300. It did a 330x when he was saying it was relatively flat.
He's like, look, it's flat.
And I was just like, dude, like, and I'm not perfect either. Like, I'm not a chart guy, but I learned basic stuff like that from Richard. I was just like, oh, you need to put this in log so you can see all that parabolic rise. I would have known that without Richard teaching me that information. But I very clearly saw it right away when I was just like, oh, dude's not log. I've been here the whole time. I know exactly that little flat line. There was a lot going on back there. And it was a 330x that he missed out on.
He also wasn't like part of the community. So like we were talking, and he goes in one of his videos, he's like, well, DeFi made Hex, and we were like, wait a minute, we were before DeFi summer. Like, because we were in December 2019, DeFi summer was summer 2020. So Hex was already out for like 7 months when DeFi summer started, right? We were already using Uniswap. Like, all this stuff was already, like, when Yams came out, like, Hex had already gone on a run.
Yeah.
So
Uniswap was, I would argue, is probably one of the first true DeFi. And that was like, it launched literally like a month before Hex. It was like November, then Hex. And then once Richard Hart found Uniswap, it's just like, hey, my community, check this out. This is an amazing decentralized exchange. And like, that was a revolutionary product in the system of crypto. Like, it replaced the third-party middlemen that we've been trying to get rid of forever. They've been here since the beginning. So now we got rid of them. It's just like, hey, come check out this Uniswap. So that was true DeFi, was Uniswap, Hex, and I would argue very little. And there might be some stuff out there that I'm not aware of just because of how large crypto is. But I would argue almost none of it is really DeFi. I see nothing but give me your coins, lend here, all this stuff trying to just use a bunch of buzzwords and say they're DeFi, but they're not really DeFi. Hex, Uniswap, that was the DeFi start. That was what started. And Hex wasn't successful because it launched closer to or as we got to the halving, or it ran up with the DeFi bubble. It was starting of the DeFi run. It was massively successful, 330x during that bear.
And we're like one of the only things that exist still. Yams dead. Like,
dead,
banana coins dead. Like, what, like, name your fruit finance, pickle finance.
I forgot about those. Like, food, every food coin.
Food coins.
I mean, if you look at it, Hex did start the whole, it's DeFi, decentralized finance. I think what some people may be talking about is probably because, like, the people who invented yield farming was synthetics, and that was like in February, March of 2020 and stuff like that. So we predate yield farming by December 2nd, 2019. So
yeah, I mean all that the yield farming stuff. I mean, how many different front ends for any of this food finance is there? You know, how many different layers of redundancy did any of that have? You know, I mean, very little. So like it's not real DeFi unless there's several people running that can run front ends of your code to be able to make sure that it's like that. Actually, it's not one person at one server running it. I mean, that's just and like that.
Richard said it really well too. Like during this fork, right? Like if it forks over, like you don't get a copy of your coins, you probably weren't in DeFi, bro. Like your shit was with somebody else. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ask them go beg them for your coin.
That's one way that you knew that Uniswap was legit, was because even though that they weren't willing to put us on lists, you were able to create a front end for that pretty quickly. Yep. So we did.
What else in chat? What else I wanted to cover here? Yeah, I just jotted down like the bear market talk. Like you will see just epic face ripping bear market rallies, and that will make you think that the bear is over in a sense. I think we started to see one today in the markets in general. We had BTC like closing in on like 31K or whatever. We're going to see that, and then your FOMO kicks in and be like, oh man, I don't want to miss the bottom. And if the larger trend is still down, like I would kind of wait for confirmation for that rather than just aping in, or even do the DCC, just keep that 9 to 5 man and just dollar cost in. You know what I'm saying?
People don't like to hear that, dude. Keep your day job.
I mean, when you look at that, when you look at the psychology of a market chart, and they show it all, like it never goes straight down and then straight back up. I mean, it just doesn't. I mean, we had something similar to that in Bitcoin this time. For one day we went up that higher. But like for the most part, you don't see that. So
yeah, that COVID dip was like a once in a lifetime thing. I think. Yeah. Just in all markets, that V. I think too many people are expecting something like that again, and then it just feeds on itself when they're proven wrong, and then they have to sell, and then they get stopped out, liquidated, and it just reinforces itself, which sucks.
They're long, painful, cold. Like I was telling one of my friends that's new, I said, honestly, when the bear market comes, you're gonna start hearing stories of like people killing themselves and stuff, and I'm like, it sucks to hear, but it's true. It happens every single cycle. Like people can't take the volatility of crypto, and they're all in. They're on leverage. They have debt. They sold their house to buy at the top, and then their wife leaves them. Like this stuff happens every single cycle. And I was telling him, I'm like, look for it, and then boom, the stuff's happening now. And the other thing is like we can't even all agree that we're in a bear. When we're all agreeing that we're in Goblin Town, then we're going to be close to the bottom. So, that's why I still think we got room to go. Like not everyone's max depression. You'll see it though. You will see it.
Oh, it was the saddest time of my life was 2006 in Tampa, working at St. Joseph's Hospital as a psych nurse, where 3/4 of my patients were people who lost their homes. They lost their families, lost their wives, all because of the financial collapse. And we're just a micro community.
I'm glad Randy did say like back when Bitcoin was around in 2006, like some people like trying to act like they've been in crypto longer than what they have, and they give you a weird timeline. You're like, wait a minute.
I got into Hex at 2017. I'm like, oh, did you?
No, this was the real estate collapse. It was very bad, and I used to ride my bike to work every day, and I just didn't want to do it. It was terrible. Spend 12, 16 hours with people who just lost everything. And,
and you go back to 2008, 1999. I mean, I'm just speaking from traditional markets, but there were massive rallies within those downtrends to make people thought, hey, this is it. And you could tell by these giant candles on these charts and then they would give it right back and make new lows and just keep sucking them in, spitting them out. And so
that's
we
the
don't
reason why at the end of a bear market says this is a sucker's rally, because you've been beat up so bad that you just don't believe that you're going up anymore.
Give up.
You give up. Yeah, you've capitulated. You give up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't wish like the pain on anybody, especially in these huge, financial collapses like Luna. And I will say that when we experienced the exact opposite of it, it felt strange. Like I said, when the COVID dip happened, I mean, that was when Hex like started to pump the hardest. Everybody that I knew in traditional finance that had other investments were like feeling incredible pain, and I was like, everything's great here, but like I don't feel comfortable like ever rubbing it in or feel making people feel even worse about it, because there is some serious pain that people have felt out there.
Well, it was wild because I remember during the COVID dip, like it was this, right? This is what we did. This pretty much all of us here we were streaming like this, and it was like we're building up our like virtual family during the COVID dip, because you had everyone else suffering, you had people not having enough human interaction, and like, man, when you say the Hex community was forged in fire, like it really was, and that's why a lot of us still have the same bonds that we do today. Like, that's just no joke.
Yeah. And could the same happen with PulseChain? The PulseChain community be forged out of fire? Like we're in it right now. If we get this, week or two,
It'll be interesting.
Imagine this, right? Because like what I see on Twitter and everywhere else, everyone's like PulseChain launches, like it's gonna crush, it's gonna kill, like we're gonna be crazy wealthy. Some people have gone as far as just like turning in like their resignation letter to their boss. Like imagine how rough it's going to be. And like, one, that's not the move, regardless of what PulseChain does out of the gate. But man, what if PulseChain, what if PulseChain dips below your sacrifice history? It is very possible, and I'd almost be borderline surprised if it didn't, because just about every other layer one has. So it doesn't mean we're the exceptions to the rule. We might be the first, but I don't know. History tends to disagree. So a lot of people that are sitting here, they think that it's just they're done. They don't have to work anymore. They don't have to grind anymore. Just when it launches, not the name of the game. Prepare yourself.
Listen, guys.
Hey, I gotta jump on my next flight here. So if there's anything else that anybody else needs from me, I know.
Shell Chicago, sir.
Oh, Chicago, June 15th. There is going to be, I'll be throwing out the first pitch at Wrigley. People that are Hexicans, come on out. We'll be doing an event beforehand. I believe the event will be, we'll have a couple of kick-ass artists, MZG, and another one to be announced as well. So MZG, if anybody else was in Vegas, they might have run across these lovely gentlemen, some fun twins of mine. My friends that are twins that do fantastic DJ work. But we'll be also throwing out the first pitch at Wrigley. I have plenty of extra tickets. If there's other Hexicans that feel like they want to go, we have some upgraded seats. If people want to come out super decked out in Hexican garb, maybe check out hexmerch.com for some ideas. But the top 10 people that come the most decked out will get seats upgraded to right behind home plate. So come on down. We'll I think it'll start like 2:30 or so, right across the street from Wrigley Field. Venue, I'll announce it next week. I don't want to announce it this week. I was really on the fence about it, but we do have a venue right across the street that I have to sign on, and then we'll be locked in. So
playing the Padres, right?
Yes, Padres, 7:00 night game. So we'll do a daytime thing, and then we'll take off from there.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah,
other than that, have a great weekend, everyone. This has been. I'm glad I got to stop in for a minute.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by, man.
Have a safe trip, buddy.
Appreciate it.
Safe flight.
Later, bro.
Adios, gentlemen.
Later, dude.
Okay. I want to talk about the whole giving up your job thing. As wealthy as I am, I learned in 2018 not to give up your clients, and I know a bear market is coming, whether we like it or not. GCC said we're still in a bull. I think we're in a bear. It's nice having money come in, not have to touch your crypto when it's down, and having money that you can add and DCA in when it's going down further and further.
That's how you get wealthy.
That's how you get wealthy. And I missed that in the last bull our last bear because we had to live off of our crypto, and we went from being millionaires down to into the 5 figures again. And it doesn't feel good. I don't mind talking about it, man. You guys, it's my personal stuff. But when it comes to crypto, we actually had to go down to 5 figures again. Then it hurt. But thanks to Hex, we won't go there. Thank you, Hex, and a couple of the other great projects that we've been involved in. I just want to say, just keep working and find something. We're going on a 4-month trip here next week, but I'll be working the whole time. I'll have to spend 2-3 hours a day doing stuff for my clients and my wife too. So don't give up your day job.
Well, it's beautiful too. So you have this grinding period, right? I think pretty much all of us on the stream can attest that you go through that grinding period where you work the job, and maybe it's not 100% what you want to do. Maybe it's not quite what you want to do yet, but you're just doing the grind. You're getting your paycheck, paying your bills, taking care of family, whatever your obligations are, and then you're allocating what you can, trying to get ahead, hustling. And then all of us, obviously, we found crypto, found Hex, and we started DCAing into that. And it was years and years of grinding and DCAing into that. I know most of us on the screen are still not done buying Hex. I bought an SUV's worth of Hex the other day, just fresh fiat. It's just not done with it, right?
Yeah, for all the haters are like, "Oh, you guys are selling." I bought this month. I think others on this stream have bought
it's
this
funny because
month.
especially him, he's reckless in how much he buys.
Yeah, he tells me.
I do. I
it's
tell
so
him
funny
not to buy
because
as much.
people are like, "Oh yeah, Motley's dumping us." I was like, "Bro, you don't even know." I was like, this dude tells me all the time. He's like, "Dude, just keep them stable. Stop buying Hex." It's like, "You got enough." I was like, I can't. I'm sorry. It's a problem.
I promise you.
Tell him what you did and stuff, and how you went from real estate and everything into Hex.
Yeah. So I mean, I went from it went as simple as I was going through the education system. It just wasn't a good fit for me. I was bored with it. I could half-ass my way through. Didn't have to worry about it. Got to college. Ran out of money. I'm like, what am I going to do? Like Randy, I ended up actually going into the Navy. Did nuclear engineering, and beautiful thing about the military though was I was able to use something called the VA loan. So I was able to essentially start using real estate as a leverage for me to get ahead. And I was able to do that via the military. So I started doing that, but I've always been in that search for passive income. So and I've always dabbled into crypto because of the mining aspect. I was like, oh, I can literally build this computer that mines me these digital currency that I can sell for what I thought was real money at the time. And that kind of got me down the rabbit hole. And then when Hex came along, it was just a no-brainer because I had all the tools and education in place to see how valuable this thing was. Monetization of time, absolutely. This is true passive income. Up to this point, I was always searching for it, but there was nothing that was true passive income. There was always find the right tenant, repair something that's broken, manage your portfolio, you name it. There was some sort of management. Hex, truly passive. And at that point, and that's why I'm so addicted to it, because I've gone to everything else. I just know the superior product when I see it. So it's very hard for me. Even when someone like Tendies is telling, recommending, hey man, just hold off, don't buy yet, or maybe check out something like this. I'm like, it's but there's Hex, and I know it's better. And it's not a maximalism thing. It's just I've done enough research to know what's out there, and I know what the superior product and the most asymmetry of a bet there is right now, and it's still Hex for me. And it's done extraordinarily well. And I'm able, because of it, I was able to retire. I'm out here in Puerto Rico to just, again, maximize benefits of it. And now that I'm essentially retired, but it's not really retired, right? Now I get to do what I love. And that's this. It's the passion for this cryptocurrency, Hex, the Richard Hart ecosystem. And I found ways to make more money than I've ever made in my entire life in a very short span of time. So then you reflect, and you're like, man, what have I been doing this whole time? And I don't think it was wrong because it gave me all the tools to be prepared and recognize the opportunity when I saw it. But man, it's crazy. Once you're truly free and you can focus on what you're passionate about, man, the money just comes. And Randy can tell you that too. He's been in what he's passionate about for years, much longer than I have. And the money just comes. And you don't retire. You just it's that corny saying of just you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And it really is true. It's not work, but you make more money at it. You don't have to work, and you're not really retired in the traditional sense people think of going out on the beach and drinking pina coladas.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Amen, dude.
Yes, I mean, some people like Cabana there, that's his idea of retirement. So I do like the beach, so I'm out there too.
But to the points earlier about keeping working. Randy's point, especially about don't like lose your clients. Like it's you finally get to a point where, man, it's like I feel way better financially than I have been, but I've actually kind of added more clients in the past couple of months, not because I'm like riding off into the sunset, but it's a good base to keep. You don't know what tomorrow's going to bring, or next month, or next year, so why throw that away just on a whim because it's like, oh, well, I have some good crypto now. It's just take care of yourself and those around you. It's like my brother always used to tell me, he's like, no matter what, no matter how good you make it or whatever, get it so that you can go to McDonald's, flip hamburgers, and take care of yourself, at least if that's what you got to fall back on. So it's like, it's not to be underestimated, I think, is to like keep that income, your core income stream for as long as you can. Now, I'm not saying keep it forever or whatever, because if you invest in smart passive income cryptos like a Hex, PulseChain, PulseX, like there are ways for you to make that, those cryptos work for you. And I'm super pumped. I know Wendy's is, for the coming weeks. I mean, there's going to be more opportunities. So you take that money from the real world and then you put it into crypto, and then you discover and learn how to make that work for you there while keeping this income source available to you, because you're just maximizing your opportunity over time. And once you get to a place that you're totally comfortable, you don't have to think about anything, then maybe you can take a step back or sell your business or offload clients.
FU money. Get that FU money first. 10 figures is my goal for that.
Yeah, because the issue is like we've told people, like our friends, because they watch us retire and they're like, they hit $1 million and they're like, coming to join you. And I'm
drives me nuts.
I'm like, yo, you might. I was like, yo, you might want to chill a little bit, because
it's not what it used to be either, right?
Yeah, it's not. And like Randy could tell you, like when you go from like taking a steady paycheck and then all of a sudden you're living off crypto, it's another level of stress. Yeah. Because with Hex, at least we don't have to worry about trading. We just have the passive income coming. But at the end of the day, sometimes even with Hex, you got to make a call. Am I going to sell here? Am I going to restake? And with a steady paycheck, it's like you're making enough, your bills are covered and stuff like that, and you could just keep growing and growing and growing until the point, like you said, where it's FU money and you just don't even have to worry about it. So, I mean, I think a lot of people coming into crypto see the stories of people making tons and tons of money. It's not necessarily easy. We're the exception to the rule. A lot of us, it's not just everybody that makes it, and you're probably not going to do it in one cycle. That's just the way it is. And then with diminishing returns, it could take multiple cycles, right? So it took me 2 cycles,
took me 2.
Yeah. And so like now it might take a person coming in 3 cycles, right? So it's, it's something to think about. Like it could take over a decade now. So, you come in and you learn, right? Listen on streams, and there's some people that talk more than they listen. It's evident they go on stream, right? And so like me, you guys didn't see me for a long time. I was already in crypto for many, many years before I ever came on camera. And like me and him especially, we're hard on people that, talk, but they don't know what they're talking about. So it's frustrating to me, especially because I'm like, you're leading people to the slaughter.
The space is just perilous, man. Like if you don't know what you're doing, especially if you're new, like there's so many pitfalls, you're more than likely going to fall into one. So that's why these influencers get such a large following, is people are desperate for that knowledge and education. So like Tenji's was just saying, if you put yourself in that education position, you want to teach, you better come fucking right. Like, because people are coming to you and they're bringing their life savings and they're desperate, right? Like they're trying to leave a broken system. We want crypto to be the answer to fix this broken system we're in. And they're coming to you. If you decide to do what we're doing, yes, this is a fun hangout. We have some fun, but we do education as well. Like Cabana says, they're coming to you for that education. They're come to you for that knowledge. Should you be that only source? No, but you do have some sort of responsibility to have a degree of like expertise in the area you're talking on. If you don't know, fucking say it. Say you don't know. Don't make some BS up, because it's very apparent to people that know what they're talking about, see right through that instantly and just like, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Like me with stablecoins. I'm not a stablecoin guy. I say, you guys talk about it.
and you're honest with it, right? Like as long as you're honest with it, if you're just not quite on point, that's fine. And if someone calls you out, it's like, hey, that's not right. Okay, don't be defensive or combative about it. Like, oh, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I spoke out of turn. And if that person that said you were wrong and they can verify it, or you go and do your research, you're like, oh yeah, they're right. Admit it. It's okay to be wrong. It's human, right? We're not perfect. Richard's not perfect. He's walked stuff he's said in the past back before. And I would argue he's more intelligent than most of us on stream, pretty handedly, but he's been wrong and he's had to walk stuff back. It's okay. But don't be so obstinate where you just refuse to be wrong. And if you're going to take that education role on in space, you better come correct. Otherwise, be willing to take some criticism.
Yeah, I just wanted to go over this one. So from Twitch, would you not rather invest in stocks? I mean, really, if I can find a higher performing asset, I'm going to invest in that. Now, I will say this is the first week, or last week was the first week in years I just dipped a toe into some stocks I've been eyeing on. But guess what I didn't do? I didn't sell any crypto or any for that. I used the income from my clients to dabble in that.
Thank you, clients.
Yeah, I'm not selling hex to any of that. To me, that's a foolish investment. Do you think, some of these companies that you could very well catch a 10 to 100x in years in the stock market. I think you could probably do way better than that in crypto.
Oh, easily. I mean, like a lot of us. I'm being conservative. We held large amounts of stocks before. I made a lot of money in stocks. Yeah. I've made 10x's in stocks before, few times, but in crypto it's just so much easier, especially if you really know what you're doing, really do the research. It's
in a weird way, don't you feel like more secure and insulated in a sense?
Oh,
like
yeah,
it sounds weird to say, but once you're in it for a while, people are like, oh my gosh, you see what happens to Luna and it's like they can't handle it, or these violent swings up and down, and if you get used to it after a while, it's weird to say. And if you're in a right asset that pays you,
stocks dip 80% too.
Yep.
Seen it, right? So
and you have less upside. So
you have way less upside.
So guess which asset class I prefer.
Yeah, like pull up a chart of Peloton. It looks like a shitcoin.
And we're out here in this community. It's pretty much all investors that are out here retired, who pay no taxes, right? So
capital gain.
Yeah, no capital gains taxes. So it's like the 99% that we meet are crypto. They're not stock guys. We do meet stock guys, but even the stock guys, they hold crypto too. So it's just kind of so.
The one thing I do want to say about all this for the stock guys compared to us is we have that insider trading thing where we get to talk to the founders of our investments. I get to have messages to Richard Hart if I want to, and he'll reply
live updates from it's not even a quarterly conference call.
This is amazing.
Yeah,
this is amazing.
A couple times.
We don't have politicians front running us and doing all these things. Yeah. We have it made here in crypto, and that's why they want to kill it. So just keep fighting for your rights, guys. This is wonderful for the regular man.
It's the best tool to do it. And like, again, we had this conversation on Wales, man. You guys give up the buck on crypto, it's done. This is your last real fight a tyrannical government. Like, your ability to transact, Richard's talking about it, that's your ultimate freedom right there. If you don't have the ability to transact, you lose everything.
Yeah, and I think you brought up, say, the stock guys and stock guys owning crypto. I think that's why this crypto bear could be slightly different in the fact that a lot of those guys own crypto now in way bigger size. So when they get out, the move's going to be magnified even more. So it's like you're going to have to hang on through some nasty ups and downs, even more so, I think, than past dips because of the size of the players that are involved.
Yeah. Well, anyway, you guys, I'll catch you guys in a little later. I got to go going. So
thanks for stopping by, bro.
Hey, no problem, dude.
See you later, brother.
Insights. Appreciate it, man. We're about ready to wrap up here anyway. Who else or what else do we have on the list? Just Maxi Premium, comments on that compared to Hex. just is gonna hold? How are we gonna?
People hate me for it. People hate me for it, but I sold on the premium and got back hacks, man. Yeah. I was one of the best trades I've had in a long time. I was like, I got almost 20% more hacks from what I put in. I think it's going to do well. There's one account that keeps pushing it up. That we've seen. So it'll probably come back down to earth.
Just think of what it is, right? It's just like people's initial thought, right? They think it's a premium because they think it's a 1-to-1 derivative, right? But in fact, it's not, because you get essentially a 10% bonus on top of your hex, and you get a 4x multiplier on Hedron, whatever that ends up being worth down the road. But so people think it should be technically trading 1-to-1, but in reality, throughout its lifespan, it should always be trading at a premium. Now, will it always trade at a premium? No, it's going to have dips. People are eventually, like Randy said, there's going to be a turning point where like, all right, that's too much of a premium. I'm willing to take that off the table and take my additional hex for it. And you can do that, but you're giving up a 10% bonus on a 15-year stake, a 4x multiplier on Hedron. And if he doesn't buy back that maxi before the fork, then he loses out on that maxi come the PulseChain fork. So whatever maxi he buys in the future, you have to choose one, right? So these are things you have to consider moving forward. Maxi, I would just argue, in people's head, they think it's a premium because it's 1-to-1. It's not really a 1-to-1 because maxi just gives you the benefit of having that larger pays better bonus of 10% and the Hedron multiplier that's going to be in. So I think it's just kind of valued in, and over time we'll see it fluctuate, whether that be a premium or people are short-sighted and it dips below a 1-to-1 cost. We'll see.
Toblerone, will our MetaMask will our MetaMask addresses be the same on PulseChain? Certainly should,
yes,
right?
Yes, it's like that on any EVM.
Flip the
like Polygon or any of the other chains that your address stays the same.
Yeah. So there you go on that. You guys getting into any PRC20s on Pulse like Helgo and Snowball? I'd like to have the goat
Snowball.
on.
I haven't even heard that one.
I haven't even heard of Snowball, but
that one yet.
Helgo sounds fun. Maybe we'll have Mr. Morton and the goat on if we are so lucky one day.
I haven't looked into it at all, but like I saw someone was asking like, how do we prepare for the Halago meme coin? And someone was like, get ready to buy Hex or something. I was like, okay,
easy enough.
Yeah, we can do that.
The honeybee seems interesting.
That's a new one. Yep, that's the llama market. I've invested in fiat.
Yeah,
say
good.
that. Yep. Loans, there's Maxi, there's Hedron. What other stuff? There's Power City. There's
Power City Watt.
Yeah. What's the other one? There's like a money one, digital money or something.
Don't forget
Free Pulse.
Love.io, freepulse.io. Like, yeah, there's a bunch, man. They just keep growing and growing. Invest what you think makes sense, right? You don't have to sit there and throw like a broad net. Like, that might be Randy's strategy. I don't know. He likes to go into a bunch of stuff. But my strategy is like, find what speaks to you, right? Find something that makes sense, has market fit, think has potential upside. I'm always for good yield. And ultimately, out of all the projects I've seen thus far, me personally, and I mean, I guess again, you have to be careful what you say. So this is my strategy. I invest in fiat. It's made the most sense to me. So yeah, just, I think ultimately though, everything gets crushed by PulseChain and PulseX. So if you don't own the premier tokens, Richard already
and probably whatever else he builds,
you're doing yourself a disservice.
That's true. Hey, could I do a little talk about what's going on in UK over the next couple weeks?
Do it.
All right. So those of you guys who are going to join us or who live there, London meetup is on Saturday, 21st of May at the Barrel Boy and Banker at 4 p.m. onwards. Edinburgh on Friday, the 3rd of June, 4 p.m. onwards at the Le Monde. And in Glasgow, so Saturday, the 11th of June at the Old House. And that's going to be 4 p.m. onwards as well. So 3 good meetups. Come on out, guys. Join us.
Oh, what was that alliteration with all the B's there? What was that place?
Barrel Boy and Banker. It's actually right near the Tower Bridge.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, that sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Nice. I have a dog going absolutely berserk, so that's probably gonna happen for a while now. But I'll try to navigate the sound in and out.
Well, you gotta just ask your question. It'll be good ambiance for the audience. Come to Wales.
Come to Wales.
Come to Wales, Randy.
No, I'm actually just messaging them. No, I'm not going to Wales. We don't have enough time. We have a month in the UK, then we're going to Egypt. But yeah, I wish we had more time. Looking back, I wish I would have spent 2 months in the UK because there's so much stuff to do and so many people to see.
If you go now, which I think you're gonna like, this is good weather time, right? Like, I definitely when I go back to UK, like, so I'll probably wait till next year to go. Like, I want to go during the good weather because the 2-year anniversary party, it was nasty.
It was terrible. It was terrible. It was so cold.
Cold and wet, baby.
Got sick over there.
And then that last in June, we've got the cup race with the 2 hex cars. So I'm going to that.
Oh, awesome!
Nice.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Have you ever been to Egypt before? I want to go to Egypt. I haven't.
No, I've been to Saudi. I lived in Sicily for 3 years with the Navy. But I never went.
Oh, okay.
Awesome.
It's gonna be interesting.
Thanks.
All right, gents, we'll hit about the 2-hour mark. Had just like another straight through show. I just figured because it's like a heavy news kind of time. Before we go, I think we threw out some dates for last stream for Pulse. I think I said like Monday the 23rd, which is 2 Mondays from now, when Pulse launched, sir. Randy Hilarski, any other update?
I'm not getting on a fucking camel. Randy's not getting on a camel. F off of that shit. that would be memed like crazy. And that poor camel would be, it'd be broken kneecaps. So no. Yeah, just follow me every Randy Hilarski. I'll be doing a lot of short video content while I'm gone. You know how internet is when you're traveling; it's terrible. I don't know what we're gonna do. I think we'll just use the cell phone internet and do a lot of TikToks and things like that, and share short form content.
Sir, give a PulseChain date. That's what Cabana wants.
I wanted a PulseChain date, please.
Oh, you want it? Sorry, I'm
You're good.
He just with the shill.
I'm living off of this shit right now, man. Okay. All right. So I thought it was going to be this week, Saturday. Just tomorrow. So let's say Sunday. I don't know.
Modified it ever so slightly. Wendy's and Motley, your PulseChain. I'm sticking with my 23rd, by the way, because we're still like 10 days out. But
yeah, I think last year I said the 19th. That's probably a little early. Might be good. It might be a little bit early, so I'll probably stick to 19th. And Wendy's is going to try to give you range, but you should.
See, he already knows because I've been saying the same thing for a while.
He's going to do the influencer thing. It's like, I think it's going to launch from the 15th to the 30th. And then it goes out. It's like, I was right.
19th to the 25th is my call. But if I had to guess, I would probably lean towards the later end. But since you already picked one of the days, I'll say 22nd.
Nice. Lots of guesses in chat. So who knows? But I do feel that we are, very close. Joe Hexotic, I hope the snapshot was last week. Oh, man. Blue 33. Oh, Hex chasing the bottom.
Oh,
no, Joe. No, Joe. No, Joe.
Don't.
Joe and DJ.
It's a broken project.
There's no bottom.
There's no upside. There is no bottom.
It's a black hole.
You'll never find it. That money just goes out the window. That could have been copied over. Don't do what Joe did.
Yeah, but Joe does own Hex, which is good. So
lots of it. Yeah,
lots of Hex. All right, now Randy Hilarski. I guess you half shilled yourself. But yeah,
send it home.
Go for it.
Yeah, guys, I'll see you in Europe if you're around.
There you go. And Randy, I think this might be your last week co-hosting.
See you in September.
Been a great panelist for the past month or two, so appreciate it, man, for stepping
problem.
up and hanging with us. And it's always great conversation with you, so appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
Wendy's and or Motley, if you'd like to shill separately, go ahead.
Yeah, so big thing coming up is we're going to be doing a stream like this with Dixon Piper. guys haven't followed him yet, really smart dude.
Tomorrow night
on Twitter, and he has a YouTube channel. Very well done, very clean, entertaining. And the thing Tindies and I like most about him, there's no bullshit, right? Like he's not going to feed you opium. He's pretty good at market analysis, and when he sees in the charts, he lets you know whether it's good, positive, good, the bad, the ugly. He lets you know. So we're going to be hopefully doing a stream with him Saturday. Really cool dude. Look for that. Follow me, Motley Investor, everywhere. You can follow Wendy's for Tindies everywhere at
410.
At 410.
I'm supposed to be on Tech Talk on Sunday with X-Ray Vision.
Hexmerch.com.
That was a good show you guys had last time you were on. So yeah. That'll be a good one.
It was funny because I was talking to him. He's like, dude, I'm literally eating Wendy's for attendees like right now. And he's like, I was literally thinking about you and you messaged me. I was like, well, serendipity, I'm coming on.
We got that. Hexmerch.com. For you degens, altcoindrip.com. Got the PulseCon event coming up. That's gonna be good. So you guys get ready for that.
We have BitConnect shirts that are coming out.
Oh yeah, Bitcoin.
Excellent. BitConnect.
Yeah, this is fun.
How about a Cubs pinstripe Hex jersey for Big K's Chicago game?
Yeah, we could probably do that for sure.
Yeah.
Gotta hurry, I guess, on that one though. June 15th.
More hex-eccentric than I'm curious. I want to see Big K's. I wonder if he can give us like a pre-reveal of what he's getting done custom. Wonder if he's willing to do that or not.
Okay.
But yeah,
PVM thinks about Wendy's all the time.
and yeah, Tindies and I are working on something kind of seems like kind of accidentally let slip at the end of your stream last time, but
nice.
yeah. We're gonna be.
I was like,
we're gonna be working on something. Yeah, he gave me the disgusted look across the room. I was like, I don't know why that came out. I'm sorry.
Oh man. All right. Well, thank you guys. Thanks to Big K and Dollar Cost Crypto, Litecoin Moses, and every other name in between. He's been a Hex Jesus over the years. So appreciate you guys coming on here. It was just another great, straight 2 hours of info. I think we had a high viewership last week. People just love absorbing all this info. There's been a lot of great Hex streams lately. And yeah, appreciate you guys, and we will see you, I think, Motley, regular time next week.
Geez,
so
I'll consider it. Literally come back from Best Buy after I bought all my shit. I'm like, and Tindy's like, Cabana streaming. I was like, what? I was like, it's 4. Okay, I guess
you are an hour difference now, right? So yeah.
No, it's same. It's
really?
weird.
Okay.
It's weird in Puerto Rico, I think.
I thought Big K was an hour difference.
It changes.
It's with daylight savings time. They don't. That here we don't do
we don't do it here either, so it just you guys change, we don't.
Yeah, I guess that's a better way to put it. We don't change, sir.
Careful what you wish for, chat. Everybody's asking for trivia. All right, we'll do it next week. I spared Randy. So
I went out as a champion.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
He's taking the belt and he's running.
Retiring, bitches.
on top.
All right, gents, we will call the show, and we'll see you next week. Thanks again, everybody.